Hey, greetings, fellow slinging agents in the wild. Welcome back to Roll Hard 20. It is I, your trusted handler, Brian, welcoming you back to the Digital Rage Room, episode 8 of our homebrewed scenario, Little Treasures. I don't want to take up too much time. All I could say is right now we are currently in the home stretch. That's right, we're close to the ass end of this season. And man, I'll tell you, knowing what these next 2 episodes hold in store for you listeners, I gotta say, it was actually one long episode. We recorded till almost midnight that night. I know they may not seem late to some of you hard slingers out there, but I tell you what, to us, to the old boys, staying up that late, that'll kill you. Anyways, needless to say, cut the thing into 2, so you get episode 8 and episode 9. Episode 9, they're both part of the finale, but you gotta wait one more week for the finale of the finale? Yeah, that's it. Anyways, remember, leave us that 5-star rating and review on whatever podcast app you listen to the show on. Don't forget, head on over to our YouTube channel at Roll Hard 20. Click subscribe. Listen to the show there. Oh, and don't forget, when we post the after action report, you're going to be seeing our pretty faces. So, all right, let's warm up our dice and top off our glass as Roll Hard 20 presents episode 8 of our Little Treasures run through. Enjoy. Hit the record button and
tonight's daylight savings too.
That ain't gonna make much of a difference for me.
You get an hour extra on the other end.
My body won't know the difference. That's a tragedy of it. It could be, you give me an extra 4 hours and it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm like that too. Whenever we travel, it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I wake up when I wake up.
Let's fire this bad boy off. Greetings, fellow slinging agents in the wild. It is I, your trusted handler, Brian. With me, my heart slingers of yore.
Hail the road.
Episode 7 of our homebrewed Delta Green scenario, Little Treasures. Probably the final episode, guys. So let me give a little bit of a rundown so I get you guys up to speed and where we are. Last episode saw our agents going to the home of former Detective William Preston, a broken shell of the man he once was. Resigning after the 5th child was taken, he informed you that 7 years prior to the first of these children being taken, 4 other children had gone missing in the same manner. Too far gone to be of help, he gave you a bag of gray ash that he had recovered from outside of the Hauser residence and bid you farewell. From Preston's palace, you headed to Madame Sullivan's scrying eye. Amidst the array of all different witchery paraphernalia, you began a line of inquiry aimed at pinning the madam down. Your last questions were, do you have any children? And she said yes, she had a daughter. You asked her what her daughter's name was. She said Margaret. You finished the line of inquiry by asking her if she had the same red hair that her mother had. To which she answers, no, my daughter is blonde.
Really? Wow, that's another fair-skinned, fair-haired person I see.
I didn't know there was some law against being red-headed or blonde-haired out here on the East Coast by the FBI.
No, I sort of approve of the breaking of the stereotypes. Most people think witches have the dyed black hair or the gray silver streaks, the Beetlejuice look. I'm glad you're sticking more to the classic Mayfair sort of thing, with the maypole and all that.
And I'm glad you're seeing me as a witch, I suppose. Just because I'm a psychic and I lend second sight to those who require assistance. I have you know I'm somewhat of a celebrity and have helped many notorious individuals in their endeavors and their careers successfully, I might add.
Well, whichever works for you.
Yes, which indeed.
I'm surely meant no offense. Apologies. That's just the sort of nomenclature that I hear from some of the people that when they talked about some of the witch shop over here. So
Have you been in town long, agents?
just enough to talk to some of the locals. We are trying to help find these missing children and speaking with people at the school, speaking with some of the priestly people that over at the church, some of the detectives, past and present.
Yes, you mentioned Detective Preston. I can't help but wonder how my name came up for you to pay me a visit.
It was mostly just because we were talking to the Stevens and the Stevenses, pardon me, and Jonathan said that his wife Kathleen has come to see you a few times. And then we were saying, well, maybe some of the other parents have come to seek solace in your help, or whether they be visions or divinations, helping to find the lost children.
She seems to be getting irritated, and she says, yes, each set of parents or singly of those children that have gone missing have come to see me, and I've done my best at divination to locate their children. Unfortunately, it seems as though those children are blocked by a heavy cloud.
Do you have any ideas what might have happened?
No, but it is unfortunate that something did.
Nothing at all, huh? It's just, I suppose that's our job to find out what happened, but I figured someone with your prowess and powers may have thought of something or seen something that us patrol people walking the street, beat cops, that me or us or the people here might not have seen.
It's not an exact science, Agent. In fact, your aura could affect my reading your partner in his mind. As an example, Agent, when you asked me what the note said, and I said, why do you want to know my age? It wasn't long until your line of inquiry came back around to asking me how old I was.
Now, you could say that that's foretelling the future, or some people would say that charlatans know this sort of thing and they assume that certain questions like that will be asked. I'm sensing a Peterman. Yes, Peterman, that's right, man. I'm sensing a brother, an uncle. I have a father. See? A lot of those things could be put together like that. So while some people may not think that that's a true power, some people may, and they may very well be. It's almost like investigation. Sometimes you have a gut instinct. Sometimes it's just a series of questions until you stumble upon the right one.
And what is your gut telling you now, Agent?
I believe you know something a little bit more than you're telling us, but I can't prove anything. But I figure someone that does have powers like this could help us out if they want to, and you're choosing not to. So we won't keep you any longer. Unless you have anything more to say, I could leave a number with you. I'm sure it won't be necessary. You probably already know it. So, and I guess we'll leave you to your endeavors, past and future.
I'm guessing your number is 86, Agent. Have a good day, both of you. And she walks towards the front door and holds it open. And you could see at this point, the sun is starting to dip down. It's probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Remember, it's November, so you're starting to get some long shadows across the street, and being so close to the cemetery and at the end of the road, there's not a lot of other things that would allow ambient light to kick in. Have a good day, agents.
Bid you adieu. So I'll motion to Deso to go back to our car, and we haven't really had a chance to coalesce and collate all the things that we've sort of found out or might know. What are you sipping on there, handler?
Samuel Adams Oktoberfest.
Nice.
Figure I gotta get rid of it now that we're actually in November.
November.
November
October is
Fest.
over. All right, Adesso. So once we're out of earshot, what's your thoughts on this lady here? Is she a crackpot? You think she has something more to do with it? We have
Well, she definitely has a gift. I just don't know what side she falls on. I have a feeling she's not telling us, and I can't decide whether or not she is the problem or if she could be part of the solution. I can't figure it out. I'm not getting enough information from her.
do you she mentioned her child's name was Margaret.
Yes.
You remember when we went to go to the daycare, the little treasures? We met a one Margaret Anderson. Do you remember if her hair was blonde? Handler, I'd like to see if I can remember.
Do a history check.
History.
Actually, let me see. Hang on.
I don't have a good history. Observation or instinct or... I can do history, but I don't think I'm...
Do an intelligence check.
Intelligence check, okay. Let's do that then.
Can Adesso roll that also?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did 37 under 50.
I did 86 under 90.
Oh, check out the big brain on Paulie.
Both of you do remember that the receptionist / teacher at Abby's Little Treasures daycare, her name was Margaret, and she was blonde-haired and blue-eyed. She looked to be about 21, I believe.
Yeah, thinking back, is there a resemblance at all that we could see? Certain type of eye shape, cheekbone, body shape.
Do an intuition check.
Okay.
Both of us?
Sure.
Yeah, it's better for me. 01, ot 1.
Oh, right on. Sammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 75.
Yeah, but you got that probably, don't you?
All right. Now, my intuition check is, holy shit, 75.
Yeah. So you were closer to
Yeah.
going over, so that means you know better than I do. I was farthest away that I could possibly know, even
is
though I
true.
made it by the most number possible.
Yeah. What a trip. That's why this system works.
Not only did the young woman have similar cheekbones to the madam, but Adesso, you recognize that the madam had these piercing blue eyes that were almost identical to Margaret's. So although the hair color is different, they do share similar features.
Got it.
As the two of you are sitting in the car going over this information, you see Madame Sullivan exit her store, put her key in the lock, turn the lock, pull it back out, walk towards a Chrysler minivan that's parked just at the edge of the street, almost by the entrance to the cemetery. She gets behind the wheel and starts heading west down the road. Actually drives past the car you guys are in.
Does she see us?
You don't know. She's not looking in that direction.
Okay. Well, aside from maybe checking out that island that's apparently got a bunch of goats on it, let's say we follow her. Maybe she'll lead us to the next... Maybe she'll lead us to the next clue, Scoob.
I'm all for that. The
You
only
think
other
you could
thing I could think
follow
to do
her?
would be to go back and get that book. Did we take that book from Father Werewolf?
She may be going there.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out if I put any notes about that.
No, you didn't grab the book.
We didn't... I don't think we know... Did we notice he had that book?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you
Did she
propped open the
mention?
door with it.
No, I know. I didn't know if I recognized if that was the same book or not.
She never told you the title of the book, but
Yeah,
she did say
'cause-
that she lent Father Miller a book 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And-
just didn't know if I tied that together to be that being the book. But I remember it was I'm surprised I don't have that written down.
The book was called The Witch Cult in Western Europe. As you picked it up off the nightstand, you
Yeah.
put it between the secret panel in the wall to make sure it wouldn't close on you.
Okay.
But after you ended up annihilating the good Padre,
Wasn't so good.
you never collected it. As you begin following her, make an observation check.
Okay. Under 70, 16.
Who's driving, by the way?
Adesso.
Pedesso, knock
He's always
20%
driving.
off yours.
Not a problem. I couldn't. Once again, my famous observation skills suck.
No, it's not alertness. It should be the same based off your intuition, right?
I got a
It's based off
77.
the instinct, yeah.
Yeah, instinct. Sorry.
I got a 77 under 75, so it was a critical failure. I'm completely.
You're driving,
and I'm driving too.
Well, that's why he's took the 20% penalty, is because he's driving. But you notice that as you're following Madame Sullivan, you see her bring a phone up to her ear and begin gesturing as she's driving. After a few moments, she hangs it up and puts it down.
Okay, another thing I'd like to do is, does she appear to be driving to the father's house?
No.
Okay.
The father's house was to the north. She appears to be driving towards the west. And then after a couple of blocks, she makes a left and heads south.
Okay. Do we haven't really been here long. Is this any place where we've been before? She go into the daycare?
No, the daycare was to the northeast, but closer to the center of town. The scrying eye was more to the east side of Marblehead. She's going west, bisecting the lower portion of the town, and then turning left and going more south. It looks like she's heading down towards the Bay Area.
Okay. Would that be to where, when we were looking at taking the ferry to the island, does it seem she's driving in that direction?
Well, there are directions at this intersection, and you see arrows that are pointing towards the south that say Chandler Hovey Park, Ferry. And it says a bunch of islands, Children's Island, Baker's Island.
And Baker's Island's the goat one, right?
Yes, and a few other islands as well.
Yeah, and Children's Island was where the YMCA was with the dude. Okay. Well, Odessa looks like she may be going the same way that we're going. And I noticed, did you see her? She was on the phone and sort of gesticulating. I don't know if, could I tell if she was talking like as the way a normal person would, or did she have any sort of, did it seem like she was hyper engaged or frustrated or animated, overly animated compared to, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm on my way home kind of thing.
You really couldn't tell. She seems like a woman that's in control of her faculties, not really somebody that gets frantic.
This is a game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, gotcha.
Right now, hell yeah. So, at the intersection, what do you want to do?
I'd like to continue to follow her, but at a discreet distance.
Okay.
I wish is there any sort of way that we would be able to know who called or anything like that? Like there's no, yeah, okay. We don't have that kind of pull. Well, on our way to...
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Who do you think she would have called?
I think she would have called her daughter.
How would you confirm something like that?
I would call the daughter and then ask her if she'd heard from her mother recently, because we'd like to interview her, pretending that we hadn't spoken with her. And then if the daughter gets real quiet or tries to engage in some kind of deception, we would know that there was in fact a conversation.
Okay, so how are you going to contact the daughter?
We gave her our card, but we didn't take one in return, did we? At least
And
not
it's
that I have
evening.
in my notes.
It's 3 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Well, we always could call the daycare if we really wanted to.
Yeah, let's do that.
So,
why not? Right?
Yeah, so she was either calling the daughter or calling the father. Well, we know we're not going to be a pickup at the father. Well, real quick then, Handler, did it look like she was carrying on a conversation? Did the call go on for a while, or was it like she got a busy number or a answer machine and hung up in 10 seconds?
It probably went for about 20 seconds or so.
Okay.
That could be that could be someone leaving a message.
Yeah.
Could be a conversation, but they'd have to be men. We can express an enormous amount of information in 20 seconds.
Operation Coffee Out,
Yeah.
9 o'clock, Starbucks.
Yep. Yep.
Utah.
Okay.
Give me 2. Okay, well, we could always try to, if it's 3:00, we could always try to go to the school as well. If you feel like seeing her in person would be good. I'm
Well,
wondering
I
if
just
we're
want to know if she's called or her mom's called her. We really don't need to know what they talked about.
okay. How about this? We call her and say, "Hey, we're trying to get in touch with your mother." Oh, okay. Wait a minute. First of all, what I was going to say, hey, we're trying to get in touch with your mother. We haven't been able to. Have you talked to her? And she would give us an answer, yes or no, whatever. But if her mother said, "Hey, I just got done talking to them pigs," then she may go play along like, "Oh yeah, I did just whatever." You know what I mean? So we have to kind of be clever on what we're trying to get. Are we trying to deduce that she's lying or what? Did we lose you, Tone?
No, I'm here.
Okay, tick tick. What are we gonna do?
Okay, let's
Patter.
yeah, we'll give her a call. We'd each like to make the call.
So
After about the 5th ring, the phone picks up. Abby's Little Treasures Daycare. May I help you?
hi, this is Special Agent Ichi Kimura. Am I
Special
speaking
agent.
to Miss Abigail Murphy?
Yes, that is me.
Hi.
Is everything okay, agents?
Yes, absolutely. Everything is fine. We were wondering if we would be able to talk to Margaret for a moment. We're trying to get in touch with her mother, and we want to see if she could help us out.
Her mother. I wasn't aware she had a mother.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody has a mother, but I was under the impression that her parents had passed away. What's strange is Margaret just received a phone call a few minutes ago and said she had to leave, urgent business, and asked if it was okay if I could let her go early for the day. And since there's only 2 more hours to the day, I said, yeah, go right ahead.
Do you happen to know which way she would have went? Maybe we could meet her there.
I assume home.
Do you
If
think
that,
you could give us her home address? Do you think that wouldn't be overreaching?
uh, agents that's really dicey. Look.
We are federal agents.
Adesso, get her. No, I'm just kidding. Let me try to do a persuade on her if I can.
Go ahead.
So, Ms. Murphy, we're really trying to help find these children here. We don't have a lot of time, and any sort of little information, no matter how small, could really help us find something to help us find the children that are missing. So if you really could, it would be greatly appreciated. Ought to. So under 53. Wow.
There we go.
She says, please don't let this get out. She lives on Baker's Island, one of the houses there. I don't have a definitive address. All the mail goes to union boxes that are out front, and the residents come down. Everybody that lives there, that is their address, Baker's Island.
That's greatly appreciated. Of course, we'll keep your confidence, and yes, we greatly appreciate it. We were going to look to go out there as well, so we have reason to say that why we were going out there, so it'll never come back to you.
Thank you, agents. Good luck.
Thank you, Miss Murphy. We'll talk soon.
Boom. Hangs up.
Should we call
Okay. Eisenberg?
No, not Heisenberg. I'm wondering if we should call the detective.
Wallace, the new one, or Preston, the old grouch?
Preston, the old grout. No, Wallace, the new one. And ask him if anybody ever went to look for the kids on Baker's Island. Ever.
Give him a call.
Yep, let's do that.
How old is Wallace?
He's probably in his early 40s.
Yeah. I'll give Wallace a call. I'm going to tell each, yeah, I just want to see if Baker's Island was ever looked at or investigated from anybody, because I'm getting the impression from the evidence that we saw in our file review that no one's ever gone there. So let's just see.
Well,
Other than now, they probably went over there to check out Mr. McCandless or whatever his name is.
Are you still following Madame Sullivan? Or did you stop while you made these calls and stuff?
No, I thought we were following her.
Okay.
Right, Adesso, or no?
Yeah, we probably would have, but you would have been making the calls.
Yeah, I was
I'm
calling.
already distracted diving.
Okay.
Yeah. it's 3 o'clock. You said, okay, well, we can call the Wallace guy, but I thought he was raising a couple flags about, trying to get this thing over with. But since talking with Preston saying like, yeah, he's not very good. He's just, kind of solves it by letting the things fall into place, luckily, and he can solve it. So maybe he was just like, yeah, let's finish it. So maybe he doesn't have anything to do with it. So
Well,
yeah, okay, let's call him.
My thought would be is that Mr. Wallace or Detective Wallace is probably just going through and doing his thing, but he would have gone and checked out.
Well, do we want to alert him is what I'm saying, because if he is involved, he could be saying, hey, they're going over to Baker's Island. Do we want to let him know that we're going there, or just keep it under wraps and follow? I'm assuming this ferry is like a big ferry that cars park on and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully we can get on there without them seeing us.
Right.
I don't know.
All right, let's just give him a call, see what he knows.
But we keep driving and following Sullivan.
Okay.
Yes.
The phone rings twice. Answers. Detective Wallace.
Detective Wallace, how did your investigation go of the handyman from Abby's Little Treasures?
Oh, gold mine agents. Looks like we found some stuff in his footlocker, and if that doesn't beat all, I mean, the guy sealed his own conviction. He hung himself in his cell.
Oh, that's disappointing.
How can you figure, agents? We got to win here. We got to win.
Let's say we do. The problem is we lose the spectacle of a closure and a trial where everybody gets to
all
see
that's going to
justice
do
be
is just
done.
have these attorneys making money for no reason at all.
Well, and information about where the remains of these children might be. Think about closure for the parents.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's just not the same amount of closure we really wanted.
Well, we'll follow it up on our end, agents. But I think your guys' bid is done in town. I want to thank you for your prompt arrival. I know I came off a little strong out of the gate, but I think we could take it from here, agents. Thank you. Please give me the number of your special agent in charge. I'd like to give him a special thank you and send him a box of chocolates if I could, whatever it takes, anytime.
Well, before we get to that, before we turned over Hammond to you guys, he had mentioned something not only about Children's Island and the YMCA, but also mentioned something about Baker's Island. Have you or any of your force been out to Baker's Island to maybe look to see if he had any of another place over there or anything like that? Have you ever been out there?
When we were interrogating him, agents, he made no mention of Baker's Island, just Children's Island. And as far as him owning a residence, the man was damn near destitute. I don't see that being the case. Most of the people that are out there on Baker's Island, they're pretty self-sufficient. They stay out there. They really don't come to the mainland. They make their little wares, their little soaps, their wooden knickknacks and boxes and brooms and hats and clothes and stuff. And that's what they sell. That's how they get by. They're very Amishish.
So, was at any point were the residents of Baker Island or Baker Island itself checked for involvement in this particular case or any disappearance of any of the children?
Nope, nothing led us in that direction, agents. I just said that case is closed. Why do we keep pursuing this line?
Just a couple unanswered questions. I'd like to have them all wrapped up.
We'd like to be able to present
A complete
to the
case file.
families. Yeah.
Okay,
And
well, just tell me where I could mail the report, and once I type it up tomorrow morning, I'll get it in the mail to you guys.
Well, it's getting pretty late in the afternoon. Tell you what, we're going to stay here and probably head out tomorrow morning after breakfast. We could swing on by your office and pick it up.
Sounds great.
Excellent.
Great work.
Thank you, Detective Wallace. It's been
Thanks
a pleasure.
for your help on this case.
Thank you, agents. I'm glad you were able to help me out on my end and get Hammond for me. Thank you. Couldn't have done it without you.
All right, we disconnect. Well,
That guy's an asshole.
As you guys make your way going south, the traffic isn't moving very fast. In fact, it's starting to get really kind of congested. And you pull into this peninsula with all these parking spaces. And you see that there's a large building off to the side. There's a turnstile with a line. And then further to the southeast, you see that there's an archway with a man standing at a gate. You see a few people getting out of their cars, making their way towards the man at the gate. You see a few people getting out of their cars and heading towards the building. You see Madame Sullivan making her way towards the arch gate. She flashes something at the man standing there. He lets her pass. She gets on the ferry, which is just a normal bodied ferry. There are no automobiles on it.
Okay.
After a few minutes, a few more people go through. The gate closes. And then you see the back gate that's closest to the ferry close down. Motors start to idle up higher.
Okay. Adesso, did we happen to see Margaret Anderson at all through any of these people?
You did not see her getting on the boat.
Okay.
Well, we want to go there anyway, whether she
Should we be, yes. How many, so is this pretty big ferry? Something that we could like lose ourselves on and not
No, it's not that big. It's actually pretty small. And at the same time, you see another ferry making its way towards the dock, waiting for this ferry to get out.
All right. Well, what do you say, Adesso? Do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, let's take the next one. We don't really need to know where she's going. Do we? Because we get on this island. It can't be that big. We'll just start driving around until we see something. We'll be able to track her car down. We're looking for...
There's no cars. They're all parked, right, Handler?
Yes. They're all parked in the parking lot.
So we won't have the cover of our car and all that. We're going to be two individuals standing out like a bunch of sore thumbs amongst the Amish.
Yeah.
Wait for the next one then and try to get a little bit
because
of
we're
a
not going to be
breather.
able to blend. We get in on this one, she's going to know we're there. And that may alter her behavior. So we'll just take the next one, observe people, and then we'll see what we see.
Yeah, I think being a little bit more, I don't want to risk her seeing us. She may already know that we're following him, but if not, a small boat that she may just see us there, that's going to cause an issue. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I guess we hang back until the next ferry shows up.
Yeah, let's do that. Did we notice anything unusual about the people who are getting on the ferry to go to the island? They look furtive, poor, rich.
What's she doing?
Yeah, what's she doing?
She's sitting down amongst other people that are sitting down on the wooden platforms.
Did she notice us? Or do we notice that she notices us?
If she notices you, you still don't know.
Do people acknowledge her? Wave, say hello, nod, something?
Make an observation check.
Hot 8. Good Lord.
16 under 35.
As the boat begins to pull away from the dock, you can see her talking to somebody next to her. And as the crowd begins to part a little, you see this luxurious blonde mane on the person seated right next to her, facing away from the dock, though.
Do we recognize that as Margaret from the Abby's Little Treasures?
You can't tell because her face isn't facing you guys, it's facing away. But whoever this woman is, she seems to be talking to Madame Sullivan.
And does Madame Sullivan look like she's receptive, like she knows this person or familiar with this person? Is her face relaxed? Is there a smile there? Or can we tell anything like that?
She looks like she knows this person. She's engaged in the conversation, and even as they're getting further and further away, she's not animated, but she's not reserved either. Eventually, the ferry gets so far away that you can no longer make out facial features or even the blend of the hairs and whatnot, and it starts going down.
You know, we could do Adesso is we could go to Madame Sullivan's car and see if she has her insurance in there and maybe find an address or something in her glove box.
You do that, I'll call Heisenberg. I want to know if there's anything about Baker's Island in any of our secret annals or something maybe he may know or know somebody who does. So while you're doing that, I'll call Heisenberg.
Okay, I'll move over to Madame Sullivan's car and see if it's open first of all. I'll be doing this stealthy. I don't want people watching me. I have to do under 52 for a stealth check. Oh, sorry, what?
Oh, okay, go ahead and make your stealth check.
29 under 52. So I made that.
Yeah, nobody sees you going towards the car. In fact, most of the people have left. But you do see a
Okay.
new wave of cars coming down, probably ready to catch the next ferry. It looks like it leaves in 15, 20-minute intervals. So,
Okay. And okay, well then I'll see if I can open the car door and well, first of all, I doubt she has an alarm on the minivan, but a quick cursory check may show that there's an alarm or not, and if not, I'll open the door, lockpick it if I need to, and rummage around the thing to look for any kind of address or information.
okay. You don't see an alarm. Give me a luck roll.
15?
15. It is unlocked.
Oh shit. Okay, well, I'll put back my lockpicking tools and
Put my
go
hammer
through
back.
go through her box. Yeah. What do we got?
You find a registration in there. Odesso, you make your call to Heisenberg. He picks up on the first ring. Odesso.
Heisenberg, currently our latest lead is this woman by the name of Madame Sullivan. She seems to be the real deal. She seems to have the gift that she can peer behind the veil, but she's real evasive when we try to ask her for details and information. She lives on a place called Baker's Island out here outside of Marblehead. Do you have any information on her, or can you get some information on her? She seems to have a daughter. We think she has a daughter, name of Margaret. Probably
You don't
not
have a
the same.
first name on this, Sullivan?
No. Just Madame Sullivan. She claims to have lived here all her life. So a lifelong resident of Marblehead /
Got
Baker's
a
Island.
Madame Sullivan's scrying eyes. That related
That's
to
it.
her.
That's her.
Okay.
That's what she owns.
Owned by Corinne Sullivan. Looks like she's owned it for, gosh, a couple of decades. She's got
Yeah.
a place of residence on
How many
Baker's
decades do
Island.
your records show that she has owned it?
Looks like it goes back, that's odd, 62 years. That's an odd.
Okay, if it goes back 62 years, the woman we're looking at doesn't look like she's in her 60s. She looks like she's in her 40s.
You got a phone number? Yeah, that's how far back it goes. Yeah, beyond that, it gets a little foggy. It looks like they didn't put anything else in the computer base prior to that, so I can't tell who owned it before then. As far as Baker's Island is concerned, let's look at my notes. Looks like it's a island located about 3 miles northeast from the main land. It was once owned by the Massachusetts Bay Colony for a time. Looks like it's currently owned. No, it isn't. Looks like the only way to get there is via a ferry. There's no roads that go there. Looks like their main source of revenue is selling goat milk.
Yeah.
And it's basically a village.
Anything remarkable about it? Because she's living there and has lived there. And we're still trying to figure out if she's a player or she's the problem.
Well, it's got a light station on the island, probably used to keep ships from crashing into it. The aerial shows there's a lot of small dwellings that are along the coast. There's a long dock. It looks like there's a house in the middle of the island next to 2 large bodies of water. I don't know. I can't get in too close to it. The picture's pretty old. Looks like it's a black and white aerial. I don't know the last time a sat's been over that way. It would take me a while to get one maneuvered over that hemisphere.
I don't think that's necessary. What we're just trying to figure out is whether the history of the place puts our Madame Sullivan in our crosshairs as either friend or foe or the problem itself. Because everything we're pulling out of this place as far as information goes says there's some kind of involvement of the other. And we're not sure how or why, but she appears to be the real deal. And we're still
What
not
does she
getting
have to do with the missing children, though, Odesso?
She was helping one of the parents try to locate or at least contact one of the missing children. She wasn't having any luck, but since each and I both feel that she's not a charlatan, she is connected to the ether, the other. She can see beyond the veil. It's, the old thing, right? I'm a spy. and my agency has hired me to find myself because we know there's a leak. She's the problem, and the parents are hiring her to find the kidnapper when she's actually part of it. That's my theory right now, and we haven't seen anything to disprove us of that. Either way, I think she knows more than she's telling us.
All right, well, keep me in the loop. Let me know what I can do on my end.
Will do.
Out.
Out.
Each. As you go through the glove box, you see that the registration is registered to Corinne Sullivan. It says that her address is a P.O. box in Marblehead itself.
Okay. Well, I'll take a picture of that anyways. And at least we have that now. Anything else in the glove compartment that would that seems to appear useful, like any receipts for things she might have bought? I'll check the console while I'm there before anyone comes. I'll check the console. I'll check the thing where she keeps the change. On the visors up ahead, sometimes people put things there. Maybe there's a picture.
Nope, there is nothing there. It's almost as though the van is sterile.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
well,
roll an intuition check each.
Okay.
See if you can tell if it's been cleaned, or this just happens to be she's a neat freak.
Or if it's just purposefully
Yes.
void of
Purposefully
everything.
clean, yeah.
All right. Well, is that something I can roll, Handler?
No, you don't need to. As you look around the van, you notice that the interior is extremely clean. Whether or not she's a clean freak or not, that's hard to tell. If you're looking for any type of forensics evidence, you'd probably want a lab technician to go through it, though.
No lab.
And as you guys start doing, Odessa, as you've contacted Heisenberg and each as you're going through this van, the ferry's already at the dock. You see people are starting to load up on it.
Let's join them. I'll give each a briefing of what Heisenberg told me.
Yeah. I'll close the door and not lock it like she didn't, and make my way over there. One thing I did want to notice was, because I saw her shop. Her shop had pictures and portraits, and it was lovingly cared for. Yet this car of hers was void of all that. So I'll make sure I note that to Adesso.
As you make your way towards the arch, you see that there's the same individual who's checking people to let them through. And he stops you. He says, "Oh, need to see your residence for one of the islands, sirs."
Whip out our badges here on official business.
He's dumbfounded. He just raises the gate and says, "Come on through. Welcome to Chandler Hovey Park, agents."
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you know where your destination is, agents?
Yes, we do.
If you want to tell me, I can help expedite this, sirs.
Should we tell him? Oh,
No.
No?
I wouldn't, right? I mean, unless we're going
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's going to be able to tell. Maybe he could tell us where we could go. Yeah, we have some business on the island. We're not allowed to, national security issues.
Welcome aboard, agents.
Thank you.
So you see yourself towards a wooden bench, milling about with all the other individuals. There's 7 other passengers aboard this thing.
Oh.
How many other people were on the ferry going toward the island when the one that Madame got on?
18.
Okay, so there's a
Catching
sizable
the slack.
Yeah, well, there's a sizable population there. I mean, it's not like 4 or 5 isolated people. This is
No.
Well, as the boat starts heading off, the captain comes over the intercom and says, "First stop, Gary's Rock."
Oh, great. Is that where the lighthouse is?
After that stop is made, second stop, Eagle Rock. Then the next one, Satan Rock.
Let's get off at that one.
Pope Head, then North Gooseberry Island, then South Gooseberry Island. And then the ferry goes between those 2 islands, which seem to form like a natural defensive line, and starts heading towards a lone island that's off in the distance. Last stop, Baker's Island.
I like Satan's Island. That sounded much more interesting.
I'm glad we don't have to go there.
Yeah.
I'd rather fight bakers than Satan.
As you approach this island, you notice it's only accessible via a dock that jets forth from the west side of the island. Passage aboard this ferry begins to slow down as it buttresses against the side of this long wooden dock. As you begin to exit the ferry, the subtleties of the island start to become clear as you look upon it. You first see a visage of several small boats that are tethered to this dock. And beyond the dock, you can see that this side of the island's face is sporadically pocked with cabins. You see a few locals as they tend to prospective houses, doing their dailies and whatnot. But so far, no one really takes notice of you. As you stand at the dock, tell me what you'd like to do.
Okay, well, we'll walk to the end of the dock. My guess is there's probably not a lot of locations to go. And Adesso looks at each and says, my thought is to check the lighthouse. I don't know why, but that seems to be a significant land feature that could be a central focus point for nefarious activity.
Are there a lot of people milling about, or is it like, because they make tchotchkes and brooms and all that kind of stuff. Is there like a thing where they're showing people how they make these things, or?
There's a few people that are milling about. There's some people that are watching people tether together brooms. You see some people that are watching some of the locals pull a giant wooden bucket out of a well. You also see sporadic black goats just kind of walking around these cabins and whatnot. It seems to be that the ratio of looky-loos to maybe residents is 1 to 2. For every one onlooker, there's 2 people that seem to belong here. They're all dressed in black. They have long, greasy black hair, whether they're male or female. They wear thatched, sandal-esque shoes. But Adesso, as far as you wanting to go to the lighthouse, from your position, you can't see it.
Okay. I'll check the schedule of the ferry. When's the last one leave?
Back to Chandler Hovey, or?
Yeah.
It looks like it leaves at 6:30. Time right now is about 4:15.
Okay, so we got an hour and 45 minutes to make it happen, or else we're stuck on this island overnight. Okay, Each, what do you think we ask somebody how to get over to Madame Sullivan's place?
Well, what's the plan for that? We don't want to let them know that we're looking for her, because I'm sure they'll get it right to her.
Well, what's your gut telling you? Is she a friend or a foe?
Well, we're here, so obviously we don't think she's a friend, but I'm not sure she's a foe yet. But I'd say that we look around a little bit, and we maybe kind of see if there's anything like that the people are doing that we notice when they're doing the shops and stuff like that. What do we remember of this island, Handler, from like the pictures or what? I mean, what Heisenberg said was nothing, but we had I remember her there was pictures there. What were the pictures?
Well, there was one picture that was against the back wall opposite of the
that old
wooden
witch
hag.
lady.
Yeah.
The Haldori or Moldier or whatever her name was.
Muldier,
that's right.
The island was
Yeah.
oblong. It had a single wooden dock along the west shore. A lighthouse seemed to be along the northeast shore. And it was pockmarked by a lot of smaller dwellings along the west shore as well. But there was one particular dwelling that was in the center of the island that was surrounded by trees. And then there was a clearing with 2 bodies of water with this cabin-esque feature between those.
Do we remember, did it have any discerning, like, or did it have any names by it or anything like that?
No,
but
it
to
didn't.
me, if that seems like the center of the island, aside from maybe the lighthouse too. But is that something that is there like a map of the island anywhere, pamphlets, brochures that they sell for, the tourists or whatever? Is there a thing where we can look at a map of this island?
Yeah, make a luck roll.
All right. Adesso, you rolled 2.
I got a 7.
I got an 18.
An 18. Yeah, you see that there's a little stand that's close to the dock, and it's one of those things where it's just, hey, take one of me.
Mm-hmm.
As you pull it out, you see that it's a pamphlet that has basically the history of Baker's Island. It talks about how the Massachusetts Bay Colony once owned it. It talks about how the lighthouse was built during its duration. I just text you guys this map of the island, by the way. It talks about the different forms of how the people that live there make a living, and how most of the people there are generational that do live there. It's just a bunch of history of the island. But the main thing, like you wanted, was a particular map.
Yeah, because I needed to know where we might need to look, and I didn't want to start asking people willy-nilly, like, hey, where are the children buried, But this is a really small island, okay.
Yeah, so it won't take us long to walk around. So let's head for, what do you want to head for? The lighthouse, or do you want to head for that one little cabin in between the two bodies of water?
I think that center area seems pretty intriguing.
All right, let's go there.
We can scout that and then check the lighthouse as well later if we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so listeners, yeah, it's very tiny.
So as you begin to make your way through this little village, and you start heading in the direction of the center of the island, you come up to a wall of dense trees, and you get an odd feeling as though being beckoned in that direction.
Ooh.
Adesso will make his pistol ready. Just, make it comfortable, a little faster on the draw for himself.
All right. As you guys start maneuvering between these thick, dense trees, you go about 50 feet into them, and you start to get this cold feeling in your feet and in your legs, as though this island seems to be sapping the warmth from your body, from your souls. It's then that you notice that the branches of the trees, as you pass through them, have taken on an odd, unusual design. Unlike most branches that seem to grow outwards and drape downwards, these branches seem to grow away from their respective trunks at diagonal trajectories, making unusual angles that spiral upwards. And it just starts messing with your mind as you're looking at these branches, following them, looking to the left, looking up, looking right, looking down, and it starts to break you a little. And I need for both of you to make a sanity check, as the confusion of these branches defy logic.
Fail. 60 over 50.
Oh. 71 under 76, so I passed.
You take 1 point of damage, Adesso, and each you take 3 points, as you of the two agents would recognize these trees as the background trees in the wooden hag painting back at the Scrying Eye.
Oh, the Moldier
Yes.
picture. Yeah. Just like the Shoiken Grove, brother.
Anything I can help it each with?
Just keep it moving forward.
Okay. Adesso draws his pistol, tells each, get your jack blade ready. There's something. We're on pay dirt. She's part of the problem.
You continue to move forward about 10 feet when, without warning, the trees give way to a clearing. You see two large bodies of water separated by a bisecting strip of land. And sitting in the middle of that land is a lone cabin. The structure itself seems to be a testament to neglect. Even from this distance, you can tell that the front door is comprised of dry, cracking wood. You see pale white paint flaking off the exterior like old scabs, and the windows have a frosted look to them. And it gives a memory of looking at the windows of Madame Sullivan's Scrying Eye.
How you want to enter each? Through the front door, side door, window, kick them in, start going loud, get kinetic? What do you want to do?
I would say that we try to find a suitable entrance to the place without going kinetic was the word?
Yes.
Yeah, at least let's save that for when we have no other choice but to kineticize.
Well, I still think we should be ready. I have a feeling things are going to happen fast and they're going to be ugly.
Are they ever not?
No, that's a good point.
And I must say, I was just smiling like a fool watching you read that writer. Your hand was pointing at the camera. You were all into it. It just makes me happy seeing my brother of, I don't know, 35 years, whatever it is, still geeking out, being the dork I always knew you were and the one I met back in high school.
Aye.
We're coming up on 40, if you think about it. We all met when we were 16, 17, 18 years old. So we're getting to that point now. It's coming on the big 4-0.
Yeah. So, okay, I'd like to not walk straight through the front door. I want to see if there is a way to gain access to this place without, in case she knows we're following her and they have their witch wands and all their Harry Potter crap targeted at us.
So does that mean you want to go around the structure?
I want to scout the structure, taking note to see if there's any cameras, if there's any things like that that would show us coming up onto the building.
Okay.
I doubt it, but just in case.
As you start making your way around the circumference of this, you can tell that the structure looks old. Hell, it probably looked old when it was first built. And under other circumstances, not involving missing children, the dwelling would probably seem warm and inviting. But it almost gives off that Hansel and Gretel vibe. As you draw closer to it, you notice that the limbs of the trees become more barren and start angling down at like 45-degree angles towards the ground, almost scraping the dirt alongside it. The boughs offer no shade at all from the waning sun that's dipping fast. As you walk around the back of the cabin, you notice that every window is comprised of frosted glass. As you turn the corner to the back of the cabin, you see an old brick-rimmed well with a gnarled tree beside it, the roots of which are quite robust and are more than half exposed to the ground. Its boughs angle deeply down towards the ground, scraping the dirt around it.
Look like the tree from the picture?
No. You see a young woman standing in front of the tree with blonde hair, her back to you. Margaret Anderson of Abby's Little Treasures Daycare.
Ooh.
A closer look at the roots of the tree gives one an eerie feeling, as the perspective gives one the impression that each root appears to look like the outline of a small body, the arms and legs of which disappear into the ground beside it, and where its head would be is fixed against the trunk of the tree. As you look at the tree, you notice there are 9 such roots extending away from the base of the tree. Thank you for joining us once again on Roll the Hard 20 podcast. Remember, you can find us and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora Radio, iHeart Radio, Amazon Podcasts, and Audible. And if you like what you're listening to, be sure to leave us that 5-star rating and review. Don't forget about our YouTube channel at Roll the Hard 20. So if you're into watching and you want to help support the show, then head on over and hit that subscribe button. It really does help the show out. We can also be found in the wild on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so don't forget to look for us there and check us out. You can also contact the show directly at rollthehard20podcast@gmail.com or head on over to the website at rollthehard20podcast.com, where you can download the current show directly, pick and choose past shows from our archives, or view our galleries. We've got a lot of stuff posted over there, so check us out. And finally, Join us on our Patreon at patreon.com/rollthehard20podcast, where you can become a hard slinger and pick up swag. So, until next time, keep your dice warm and your glass topped off as you roll those hard 20s.